Hey y'all, welcome back to Ryan and Robert Rants. We are back with you today with our review for Superman 2025. Yes, Robert is back
Woo-hoo.
in town. He was finally able to see the movie, and so was I. Fortunately, we didn't get a chance to see it together. I will say it did feel weird not having you there, but I do
Yep.
want to say I'm glad you were able to go on vacation. I'm glad you were able to see the movie as well, so that way we could talk about it today. So we're gonna try to keep it real tight for y'all. We're gonna talk about our experience at the theater, the trailers. We'll break down the movie in a really summarized version. We'll talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. We'll do our out of 10 as always and final thoughts. And then finally, we will end it with Robert's baby, the tier list.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Robert, what was your experience like at the theater?
The overall IMAX experience was good. It's IMAX. Visually, it was great. The sound was great. My watch repeatedly went off about loud environment. I think over a certain amount of decibels. Usually it happens when I'm at work and there's a speaker right there, right by my ear. It'll go off. So that just tells you how loud it was. Um, but there was also a weird thing where I don't y- on the projector, it seemed like there was a bug because you can see it like on the big screen, just something, and you're like looking. I'm like, is that like part of the movie? Is that like part of the camera, a camera effect or whatever? Because it was just stationary, and then you see it moving. Like, no, that definitely moved, and then like over time, it's just moving all the way across the screen. I think there's a bug on the projector, but it was only there for maybe like 60 to 90 seconds. But I was just like, I don't think I've ever had a bug on the projector. I've seen projectors go out, films burn, like the film strip burn, but I don't think I've ever had a bug on the projector.
Dude, the same thing happened in ours.
Really?
The
It's probably the
same, I
same. It's probably the same
kid you not.
fly.
I kid you not, dude. I kid you not. That was one of the things I was gonna break up and save, but my God, dude, you just blew my mind. This was literally days later too that you saw this,
Yeah, was
so
it
it's
theater
like,
11?
yeah, it was IMAX.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
the IMAX screen, everything. Like I looked and it was on there like the first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
and we looked at it and I was like, oh wow, this is just summing up what this is gonna be. But yeah, did you get any popcorn buckets or anything like that?
Nah, I didn't.
Nice, nice.
They still had the one that you got, but they didn't. I was just like, nah,
Yes, for those of you who
$40 or whatever it was
were
for that.
wondering, yeah, it was
I think 50, right? 49.99.
50. Yep. Bought the
Yep.
popper,
Superman.
Superman
Nice.
popper thing. The what do you call it? The Superman inside is like on its side, but it's wrapped up in like shrink wrap.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not opening it to mess with it or anything like that. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. But
Nice.
I agree with you though. The experience was about the same. It was typical. Popcorn was all right. I like I said, I did buy the popcorn bucket. The cool thing about it when we bought it, it came with the free large popcorn
Oh,
already, so I
cool.
thought that was pretty cool. So, and the popcorn was kind of this time though, so it's just like it's just missing that
Yeah.
oof. There were still plenty of seats by 7 p.m. Which speaking of, I actually made a friend with the guy that was sitting next to me. It was his kid's first time in the IMAX, so shout out to you, Hunter. Nice meeting you again, man, and hope you're watching out there. But yeah, he was a really cool guy. We had a conversation before and after the movie, so pretty
Very
pretty fun
cool. Well,
experience.
say, didn't you make a friend watching Mission Impossible too?
Yeah, the guy that came in late. He had just gotten out of work, and he was like, yeah, I was on the fence about coming, but I was like, why not? Yeah, I hope he
It's
enjoyed
Mission
his
Impossible.
experience as well. Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, that was pretty much the experience. Let's talk about the trailers. Now, you said you don't remember yours, right? That there was about like four of
I
them.
know there was the Leo movie. What else? And that's honestly the only one I remember.
I'm pretty sure,
Fantastic
cause
Four.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the
Um,
same trailer list because we saw it at the same theater,
yeah.
same format. The first trailer was Running Man.
Oh yeah,
Got
that's
a
right. Yep.
decent reaction from the crowd. Fantastic Four. If I never have to hear the Fantastic Four theme ever again, I'll be happy. I'm getting kind of tired of it. And then
They're just
smack dab in the
showing way
middle, an
too much of
Allstate
it.
commercial. Yeah, dude, like they're overdoing it now.
Yeah.
Then we got an Allstate commercial right in
Yeah,
the
there was
middle
way
of the
too many
trailers.
ads. Way too many ads.
Yeah, and then like you said, we got Leo's new one, One Battle After Another, which does look pretty good on the IMAX screen. So I'm still excited to. I want to try to catch that one in IMAX when it comes out. And then we finally got the Cat in the Hat, which was the last
That's
trailer.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
right.
it was just four altogether, so it was really
Yeah.
weird considering how long the movie was too that they only went with four trailers. But it got a decent laugh from our audience. It didn't really do much for me though. It just felt like
No.
it was yeah. And I know that was one I had on our list to do like a reaction to, but all honesty, I'm cool if we don't see
Yeah.
it again. But yeah, so that was the trailers. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the movie, just like a little brief summary. Did you want to go over that? Would you like me to?
I mean, I could try and recap it.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah,
Best as
it
I
is fairly more
best as I
recent for
remember.
you.
Yeah. Um yeah, normally when we do these, I kind of jot down kind of the overview of the synopsis, but I don't do that inside a theater mainly because it's dark. But so yeah, I mean the film kind of opens with like some, text. It says something about like 300 years prior to, current events, the first metahumans, kind of emerge, and then it goes like 3 decades ago. We get the origin, Kal-El, that gets sent to Earth, whatever, and it said, basically this typical Superman origin, right? Then it said, I believe 3 years ago, he comes, emerges as Superman to the public, becomes like the most powerful metahuman, on the planet. And then it says like 3 minutes ago, he loses his, or was it 3 weeks ago, he stops an invasion of a country by, I don't remember the country's name, but Boravia was trying to invade that country, so he intervenes, stops that invasion. And it said 3 minutes ago he ends up losing his first fight to the Hammer of Boravia, and then that's where this kind of movie takes begins. Where if you've seen the trailers, it's him crash landing in the Arctic, and he calls for Crypto to take him to the Fortress of Solitude. And again, if you've seen the trailers, you've seen this. He basically goes there. He uses his Kryptonian like robots. I believe Kalex is the name of the robot, all voiced by like Alan Tudyk, Palm Clementieff. I think Michael Rooker was a voice. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
there or if he's a later one. But yeah, he basically they channel the sun to like 300 times normal, whatever, and you can hear like his bones like shifting and healing inside. So it's pretty painful, I imagine. So basically heals himself, and then we cut to Metropolis, where the Hammer of Baravia is announcing, whatever. He's just kind of doing like a victory thing, and Metropolis. Superman comes back, and they end up fighting, and this is where you get where Lex Luthor is essentially giving commands to the Hammer of Baravia, and that's how they're kind of fighting. Superman kind of ends up losing again, but he doesn't get like he's not in the shape where he is at the beginning of the movie, so he kind of holds his own a little bit better. Um, and the people kind of rally around him and stuff like that, and the Hammer Bravia just flies away, and that's when we learn that he is in fact Ultraman underneath the mask, which is a kind of a lackey of. We learn that Lex Luthor kind of made Ultraman. He's just fully masked. We don't know who's under that mask yet, so it's basically someone under a mask under a mask. But yeah, so they wanted to find out where Superman would fly off to after he was defeated. The engineer ends up finding the fortress, but the fortress disappears at once Superman flew away. It's basically tied to his DNA, which Lex Luthor's like, I have a ways around that. We're good. It was all to try and find Superman's hideout. So Lex Luthor ends up kind of infiltrating the Fortress of Solitude. It's him, the engineer, and Ultraman. And the engineer's kind of questioning how he's able to enter, and what we find out later, because the fortress again is tied to Kal-El's DNA. Basically, he infiltrates it, gets all like the secrets. It was like a secret message from Jor-El and his mother. Speaking in Kryptonian, it's a message why they sent Clark to Krypton. We only hear the first half in like native Kryptonian, and it's all about we sending you to Earth, be its protector. We've heard that whole spiel. But back in Metropolis, this is where we get our first viewing of Clark Kent. Kind of bumbling and stumbling through the crowd again. You've seen the trailer, it's in there. He enters the Daily Planet. We find out he wrote an article about the prior day's fight with Superman in the Hammer of Baravia, which is kind of odd that Clark is writing it, because usually Lois is the proxy between Superman and the Daily Planet, but Clark is the one that wrote it. Everybody's given him like kind of, I guess, fair like criticism on his article, because apparently he uses too many like adverbs or something. Um, but we kind of get the little banter between Lois, Jimmy, and Clark, which is nice and something we haven't had since like Superman Returns. Um, and then we kind of fast forward a little bit to Lois's apartment. She's coming home, and we find out that Clark is making her breakfast for dinner, which is always a great choice for dinner. Um, and then this is where we find out that they've been kind of dating for 3 months, and she does know who he is. That he's Superman, which I'm kind of glad they just jumped right into it. And then she's also giving him grief about the interview, and he kind of allows her on the record to interview him as Superman, right? So this whole scene lasts for like, I don't know, like 10 minutes. So we kind of, and then they kind of get to a point where they just kind of like walk away. Like Clark just walks away because she makes a comment like, why do I even bother, or something with like relationships or anything. So this is where Clark leaves. Um, and then I think, man, this is where it's like get the I know Luther, they release a small creature into the city as a distraction for Clark. And of course, this creature ends up becoming the kaiju, right? So the whole thing that Luther wants is he wants to um, kind of coerce the invasion of Baravia into, I don't remember the name of the country, but that country, because we find out later. But anyway, so they're kind of like distracting. The kaiju ends up, the little critter becomes a kaiju. Superman is kind of fighting the kaiju, and this is where we get the Justice Gang, consisting of Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Edie Kathiki as Mr. Terrific, and Isabel Merced as Hawk Girl. So they all come in. They kind of have their own methods. Superman's trying to like downplay it, trying to find a way to resolve the situation without any like loss of life, which including any surrounding the humans, squirrels, even the kaiju itself. But Mr. Terrific ends up sending his little T spheres or whatever into the kaiju, and kind of like explodes his heart or something, which ends up killing the kaiju. This is where we get Luther releasing the full basically decoded message from Clark's parents. It basically, it says the first part where we sent him to Earth to be a protector, but they also want Clark to basically start a harem on Earth to pretty much repopulate the Kryptonian race. It kind of sounds like kind of fake, because it's just like, it just seems like an odd thing, because that's nothing we ever hear from like Jor-El in any of the iterations of Superman. So it was a little weird at the time, but this is where the public turns against Superman. So the public opinion is negative, because obviously they think that he's there to conquer them. He ends up turning himself in. This is after they kidnap Crypto, poor dog. But so after that, he ends up turning himself in to show that he is like he's here to, be peaceful, right? He ends up going, Lex ends up kind of taking him into custody, into his like little pocket universe prison that we found out about. So he's in there. This is where Metamorpho comes in, and basically anybody that has pissed off Lex in the past, including an ex-girlfriend, which is a little bit extreme. She wrote a bad blog about him, so he's like, nope, in there you go. So this is Superman being held prisoner. Again, we see it in the trailer. Eventually, so he's being held in there by Metamorpho, he like morphs his hand into a thing of kryptonite. He ends up breaking out and helping Metamorpho because Lex Luthor is holding Metamorpho's child prisoner, so that's why he's kind of doing his bidding. We find out Metamorpho is not such a bad guy. Um, Lois ends up kind of like going towards the Justice Gang to like try to persuade them to help break out Superman. The only one that agrees is Mr. Terrific, so he and Lois ends up going to the camp where the Superman's lost like last DNA hit because Mr. Terrific puts nanites in everybody. So that's where his blood or the nanites last register. So they go there and like probably the scene that steals the movie for a lot of people. Mr. Terrific surrounds Lois into like a protective force field while he just goes off on everybody around. All the like in I don't know if they're cyborgs, but they're like basically people in suits and soldiers all around. They end up going into the little pocket universe. They find a way, and this is where Superman kind of busts out. He ends up finding Crypto, rescuing Metamorpho's son. Which was it, like Jerry, or was something? I don't remember the kid's name.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
remember.
yeah,
It was like some generic name.
yeah, it was it was kind
I
of
think it was
funny.
Gary, maybe.
I want to say it was Gary, but I think that's what the robot wanted to be named at the end.
Oh no,
But it
yeah,
could have
oh
been
no,
both.
no, no.
It could have been
Yeah.
both. I was about to say Gary too. That's why I went Jerry, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, we end up having a fight in this pocket dimension where the guys in like these little like Iron Man type suits are fighting Superman, and they end up into like I don't know what they called it, like a proton
Like a
river or
river.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but anyways, they end up breaking out of the Pocket Universe prison. Uh, and then Lex, of course, angry that they broke out, so he ends up creating they end up closing the gateway to it, excuse me, but Lex ends up forcing it open, which basically creates a rift of into the, I guess, I don't know, a dimensional rift, I guess we call it.
Yeah.
um while this is happening, Clark returns home to Smallville because he needs to heal. So it's like a day later. We get a lot of interactions between him, his Jonathan and Martha Kent, and that's when Lex Luthor opens this rift, basically again to distract Superman. He knows Superman will come here while he wants to do the invasion over in the other side of the world. So Superman can't be in two places at once. So of course Superman goes to Metropolis to help Mr. Terrific try and stop the rift. This is where we have another fight between him and Ultraman, along with the engineer. We get a pretty cool fight scene. This is where we find out the person beneath the Ultraman mask is a clone of Clark. Um, Shocker. And then so while this fight is going along, again, basically this rift just tore through Metropolis, basically splitting it all in half. Lois and Jimmy just find out from Jimmy's apparent ex, Eve Tessmacher, that basically the whole thing. Luther wants this invasion to happen because he was promised half of the invaded country for whatever reason. I don't think we ever got an explanation why he wanted. I think he just said he
Nope.
wanted to be king of a country, like a tech king of a country. Um, so, they discover all that because Eve, throughout the whole movie, has been taking selfies. She ends up taking the selfie with, the redrawn map with Luthor's name on it. So the Daily Planet ends up filing a kind of report on all of it and made it go live while, Metropolis is being split in half. Meanwhile, while this invasion's going, the Justice Gang comes in. This is where we're seeing like, Guy Gardner with the ring slapping some tanks away. Hawk Girl's going crazy on the Dictator, and then Metamorpho ends up joining the Justice Gang because he ends up liking Guy Gardner's name for it. He's like, I'm part of the Justice Gang. But yeah, anyway, Superman ends up fighting I'm gonna call him his bizarro self because that's what I kind of got from it. Inside that pocket universe, and kind of drops him into that proton river, which ends up going all the way into like a black hole. Um, Superman ends up, I think, along with Crypto leaving, and they end up taking down Lex Luthor. Crypto goes off on Lex Luthor, which is kind of funny. basically think Loki being ragdolled by the Hulk. It's kind of the same situation with Lex Luthor. Um, Luthor ends up, going to prison. Uh, Lois and kind of Superman. This is where we've seen during the cleanup of the city, Superman kind of promises Lois a one-on-one interview officially, and this is where they kind of go into like a room, and we see the shot from the trailer, them floating and twirling in the air. But yeah, I mean that kind of concludes the overall thing. The only we had a couple of cameos during the kind of social media, you know, negativity going towards Superman. We see John Cena as Peacemaker, kind of give a little jab. We also have Millie Alcock show up later as Supergirl. Basically, that Crypto is her dog, but she comes in, kind of drunk. Apparently, she goes to different planets with the red sun to allow herself to get drunk. So she comes stumbling in. Apparently, Clark was just dog sitting for her. So that was kind of a neat cameo. I kind of figured we would get a Supergirl cameo somehow. We also got James Gunn's brother as Ted Cord at the end, just basically bad mouthing Lex Luthor in like a montage after like everything goes out about Lex Luthor.
Maxwell Lord.
But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, that's pretty much the plot of the movie without giving away, everything. Just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, you did really good with the plot summary. I mean, it's literally the whole movie right there. Um, so with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. And I want to preface from this moment forward, everything that I am going to say is in relation to Superman, the character. I need to mention that first and foremost up front because there's a lot that's going to get unpacked. So, with that being said, Robert, what did you like about the movie?
Well, I will say that James Gunn did a so if you watch our predictions video, my general worry was that this movie was going to be too overly bloated, and I think he did a good job. I mean, yes, there was a lot of characters in here, and they all kind of had their own little small moment. It didn't take away from the overall Superman experience. Like, yes, I would have probably enjoyed it more if it was just a Superman movie. Like, or I don't know, I'm not gonna say I would enjoy it more, but I think I would have liked like, straight like Superman Returns, just for example, straight up Superman. There's nothing, secondary or tertiary in there going on. So I'm not saying that kind of detracts it, but I will say, given that all of this that was in here, I think it was a good, kind of a juggling act that he provided that, ended up working out well for at least for me. I do think I love what's his name, Cornsweat. I think he did a great job. Um, I still think his little wig or whatever as Clark was still a little weird. I think it's because he's so tall in that crowd. He just like kind of springs up like I don't know, just like out of the ground. It's like everybody else is like here to him, and he's just like popping straight up like a whack-a-mole or something. So I think that's why it's a little weird for me. I think he's about the same height as Christopher Reeve. I'm not sure. I know he's like 6'4" or something. Like he's a tall dude.
Yeah, he's up
Um,
there.
both graduated from Juilliard, by the way. Um, but I think so, and I honestly think that he did a good job juggling three personalities to Superman. Like you have your Clark Kent persona, you have your Kal-El persona, and you have your Superman persona. And I think he did a good job writing the character in such a way where he was conflicted. Like all three of them were conflicted. So you have his upbringing in Smallville. Like what does it mean to be a good human? Like and then you have his side of him where he's like admiring his actual birth parents, in the beginning. So he has that with Jor-El and drawing a blank on his mom, but
Laura.
Lara. There you go. Yeah. So he has that side of it, but he also has like his Clark with his Smallville parents, and then his overall Superman persona with the citizens of the world, right? So I think that was a kind of a good like trifecta of I know we always talk about like the Clark Kent and Superman persona, but there is that Kal-El like Krypton, his I guess passion for his own heritage, right? So I think that was written well. Cornsweat again, I think did a good job all around with that. Lois was great. I think they did a real good job casting Rachel Brosnahan. Um, you actually got to see her being a reporter, which we don't really get to see in like the live action movies, at least not to this extent. Like she was grilling him in that little, basically, they're in a relationship, but she threw that all out and she was full on like raptor, just boom, attacking him. It was nice to see Jimmy Olsen in this movie doing something, actually
Yeah.
being a kind of a plot focal point too, right there with his relationship with Eve Tessmacher. But I think Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor was great. This is my Lex Luthor. Like when
Yeah.
I envision Lex Luthor, it's that business tycoon who's like kind of bent on, I don't want to say world domination, but he basically wants to like be the most powerful man, whether it's, being wealthy or just, you know, again, I guess being a king or whatever it was in a country. I don't know what that gets you. I don't think they explained, I think they didn't explain that too well. Like was there a other motive of like why did he want that country? Like what was it about that specific country that he wanted half of, right? Um, maybe there's more to it. I don't know. But I mean, honestly, Mr. Terrific again, amazing. Like terrific. Again, there was a scene where he basically just, traps Lois in like a force field and he's just doing his whole thing, like knocking out everybody. So that was kind of cool. And and basically in James Gunn fashion, like that's exactly a James Gunn shot right there, like that whole scene. But I mean, overall, I mean, there's a lot that I liked about it. I think those four things hit it. The plot, it's I wouldn't say it's, you know, it's not like it's not over the top, which is fine. It's not, it's I wouldn't say it's like simple, right? But it's I wouldn't say it's like complicated, right? There's not like a whole lot of like nuance or layers to it, right? It's not like three or four layers deep like you might get from like a Nolan film, but I think there's enough there where it's like, okay, well this is a good start, right? It's a good first film. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Oh, but I will say the other thing, there is one more thing, sorry. When
What's
they're going through, I don't exactly remember which part of it, but we see the what is it, the on the monkeys or whatever that's doing all the
when they're going through
negative
the pocket universe?
and you see a bunch of like monkeys just typing into a screen on social media, basically just doing a smear campaign. Tell me that that's not a parallel to the Snyder bots online.
I
There's
wouldn't
literally
doubt it. That's
there
what a
is
lot of
hold on.
people were
I
saying.
saved it. I saved it. There's a meme that literally says it's funny. I don't know if oh, did I save it? Did I save it? Yeah, yeah. So one of the little things that says new Superman is garbade, mistype, right? Man of Steel is best. That's one of the things the monkeys is typing. New Superman is basically garbage. Man of Steel is best. Tell me that that's not a direct nod to like all the restore the Snyderverse,
I wouldn't doubt it. I
which is
wouldn't
odd
doubt it.
because I know James Gunn and Zack Snyder are actually real good friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked about that before too, especially with Dawn of the Dead. I mean, those guys go
Yep.
way back. One writing, one directing, and then you get like a pretty decent movie from that. What didn't you like? What didn't work for you?
I felt like I know there was only one trailer I saw, and while that trailer didn't have dialogue in the movie, I don't think there was hardly any dialogue in that trailer. I you see everything, you can kind of guess like now that I watched it, I'm like, okay, well they showed a lot of the main parts, the main like good parts from that from the movie in the trailer. Like, yeah, you don't get an idea what the plot's gonna be, but I feel like all the key scenes, like we see the fight with the kaiju, we see snippets of that. We see, obviously the crash landing in Arctic. We see him fighting, the Ultraman in the stadium a little bit. We just see a lot of stuff where it's like, we could have, I don't, but I think the trailer, I wouldn't say the trailer gave it away, but now that you've seen the movie and you go back and look at the trailer, like, okay, I mean, obviously you can see where everything's at, but even then, like if you go watch like the first trailer for Endgame, like that trailer did only show like the first like 30 minutes, or it was only snippets from the first 30 minutes. Like we got a whole 2.5 hours of the like unseen footage in that from from the first trailer to the movie. Um, Even the scene where they're floating up, final shot, like one of the final shots of the film. So I don't know, maybe you cut the trailer differently. I'm not sure. I don't know. There's like actually quite a bit. I mean, I do think it's a little over bloated. Like a lot of the minor characters, like Cat Grant, didn't really do too much. She was just kind of there. Um, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it was necessary to include her. Um, Other than that, I mean, the movie was a little like Perry. Honest, Perry didn't really get to do much. So as well as they did some of the bigger named characters, which obviously you have to with Superman, but a lot of the minor characters, like what was the point? Like, I mean, you cast Wendell Pierce as Perry, like
As Perry
give him something
White.
to do. Like I think he was in like 3 scenes or something. Like give him something to do.
Yeah. So
But I mean,
that's
there's not
the
a whole lot. Like I overly enjoyed this film. I enjoyed it more than I actually thought I was going to.
interesting. Well, on that note, I'm glad one of us did because my worst fears came to fruition. I did not like this movie and I almost walked out on it. Um so first and foremost, how do we have a Superman movie without Superman? Like Superman takes a back seat to this entire movie. This movie is not a Superman movie. This is more akin to Batman versus Superman than anything else. Any of the standalones that we did during Ranked, like anything like that. The whole time. So let me say the nice stuff. Let me say what worked for me. The conversation that Lois and Clark have with the Justice Gang fighting in the background and whatnot, and she's like, "Oh, are you gonna help him?" And, "Oh no, it's like an interdimensional being or whatever." He says, and he's like, "They got it," and you just hear them like screaming in the background, like trying to
Yeah.
like hurl it off, and you see Guy Gardner doing like a net, and he's like pulling it like into the sky. That was funny. Eddie Gathegi, let me see, I sounded it out.
Gathegi, yeah.
Yeah,
Gathegi. I
Gathegi.
think it's
So
Gathegi, yeah.
it's Gathegi. I'd watched a couple of interviews, and it's Eddie Gathegi. He carried the movie on his back. Like this was his movie.
Yeah, Justice
Before
for
anything
Darwin.
else, dude, it's not even that he stood out. Like he literally carried this movie. You can take Superman out of this movie, and the movie still happens. The movie still continues. Superman does nothing in this movie. Like he literally is just there. He's overshadowed in his own movie by the supporting cast. So I will give you that. What works is the supporting cast. Hawkgirl works, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, Guy Gardner, Lois Lane, everybody that's showcased and put up front, it's their movie. This is their movie. This is not a Superman movie. What I had said in the previous videos is that it would be nice if we don't have to have an origin story, but it would be nice to have a okay, like if we're going to be put in the middle of the action, then let's do it. You do not start your movie off with your hero already losing a fight. You have not set up the hope at all. This is supposed to be a hopeful movie. This is not a hopeful movie. He spends half the time whining throughout the whole thing, and then he goes back and forth. I hate the script, dude. I hate the script to this movie because just within like the first 15 minutes when we see the Fortress of Solitude, which I think they did really good on that. I like that popping up, with the door. I thought that looked really cool. Um, Exposition. This whole script is just exposition, exposition, exposition. For someone who said we're not going to get an origin story in this movie, this whole movie is them just spitting the origin. Like even at the beginning, like the robots are giving the story, like, "Oh, this is the message that was playing, when it crashed." Like they say something like that. Like they're
Yeah.
shooting out a lot of exposition at the beginning. I'm like, you don't need to do that. Just let the scene play out as it is. And again, this is what frustrated me is he treated the audience like they were stupid and they needed to be told, "Oh, this is Superman's origin. This is that." When you could have just shown us something, you know what I mean? Like that's what I hate more than anything with the writing. And again, I said it in our final predictions. We're either going to get the James Gunn that we know and love, the writer director who here's my storyboards. I'm going to shoot it as is. There's going to be attention to detail, the craft. That is not in this movie. I feel like we got businessman James Gunn in this. We got set up the universe James Gunn. I wanted to like this movie so much. I really did. And I even said I'm going in hopeful that this is going to be something good. This is going to be like, "Oh yeah." But it first and foremost a Superman movie, it is not. It is not. Some other stuff. I will say, okay, one other good thing. It was colorful. I did like the color palette. I like that the colors popped. That was very nice. I want to see more of that. Um, what else didn't work? So at the beginning, they never go back to his parents' original message. They never go back to it. They just say like, "Oh, this is what it said," and like you said, it's never confirmed or denied if that second half was faked and they had altered it. But you can't tell because they only translate it right then and there, and it's that translation. How did they even
Yeah.
translate it?
Yeah, what they said, they
Like
had like
if
20, 29 of them best linguists in the world or whatever
yeah,
translate a language they never heard or whatever.
exactly. Like it's pulling stuff out of thin air. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, "Oh, this is how we solved it."
I mean, I think
Um,
even Superman or Clark ends up confirming that that is indeed what they said, but we never actually see it. He just says, "Oh yeah, that's what they said." Yeah. The
exactly,
message
like
was real.
it never circles back because you need that. Then what's the point of having Bradley Cooper and Angela, I can never remember her last name, is it Seraphan, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
um yeah, which I mistaken her when I was watching the movie. I thought it was Daniela, what's her face, Ratcatcher
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Suicide Squad. I thought that was her at first, and then but yeah, like it never circles back because then it makes Jor-El an actual character. In this, he's not a character. He's just window dressing. His, "Oh hey, Bradley Cooper as Jor-El," and that's it. Like it never comes back, and then it's completely erased at the end of the movie because they're like, the robots are like, "Would you like to see your parents?" And he's like, "Yes," and then it shows Mom, Pa Kent.
Yeah, his
In
upbringing in
replacement,
Smallville.
it's yeah, it's just like, "Jor-El, you're gone. Sorry, Laura, you guys are out." Like it never comes back. And again, that's what I mean is like the attention to detail is not here in this movie and in this script because they're so consumed about setting up a universe and making sure it wins, which is why, like you said with the bloated, everybody else is front and center. Superman's back here. And then when he is on screen, like the interview scene, dude, it got under my freaking skin. Just like I took some notes on everything. The fact that she knows he's Superman, I was like, I'm done. I'm like, we already got this in Man of Steel. We need the Division, Clark Kent, Superman, Smallville Clark Kent. We don't get that in here. We do not. Even when he goes to Smallville, he barely talks. The conversation that he has with his dad is doing all of the talking. And then he's just like that. That's it. You said he went to Juilliard. I don't see it in here. If it was like, okay, be quiet and stoic, I mean, 100% knocked it out of the park. But other than that, I didn't get anything from him. And I'm jumping around right now because I took a lot of notes throughout. The exposition was a big thing for me. The flying looks cool. It is not cool when they show their faces. It looks horrible. When they
Oh,
show their
I actually I
faces,
liked it.
it's
It's like
trash, dude. When they show
they
their
use
face, it's trash. But like if it's like a side profile, like when they're flying up in the sky at the end, that looks pretty cool. Like when it's done from the side, but when it shows his face, he's got no emotion when he's doing it. There's no grinning. There's no like ooh yeah, you know what I mean? Like
I mean, but how would he be grinning when he's flying like 700
but
miles
like
an
in a
hour?
scene when he's like, at least like some sort of intensity, like he'd be like You know what I mean? Like
Because
some
like every
emotions. No,
time,
he's
but
just
every
like,
time the camera's on him when he's flying, it's usually him going like 500 miles an hour. There's no like
but
putting
he's going like
facial.
this.
I mean, there's no
That's it.
putting facial. Like everything's gonna be like. Honestly, your face should be like more like when you do that
But
whole.
yeah, but that's what I mean. Like there's no expression. He's just
I mean, we're not
the
gonna. I
entire
mean,
time. Like
the physics
it's
logic in the previous Superman movies, where Christopher Reeve can fly from New York to San Francisco in quote an hour,
yeah.
but he can hold Lois and make all these like, nah, that's not going to be accurate at all either.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like as far as this one goes, like he barely emotes throughout the whole movie. And then let me see the fighting in the city, the vendor. We got to talk about the vendor. Like I like that they had him in there, and I love that he has that line. He said, "You saved so many of us, so many times. Now it's our turn." I'm like, okay, that's what I want to see. That was a step in the right direction, where it was like, hey, the city's not like, oh, we're against you, but there is a line, literally right after he says that. There's a line from another citizen. He's like, maybe you shouldn't have done that thing in that place, Superman. And
Yeah,
an eye roll from me, like the biggest eye roll. Like really, like just let the nice moment be a nice moment. It was like no, we had to like pull it down real quick. I do agree with you with the Daily Planet. Wendell Pierce is wasted in this movie, and it would have been cool to see him take on like a Perry White. Pretty much all he does is just like put a cigar in his mouth and be like, "Hey kid, get on the get on the
yeah,
plane," or whatever it is at the end. Rick Flag, same thing. Flag is just there to be like, I don't agree with it, but we're gonna do it. But I don't agree. Like
yeah.
he's just there. Like I said, the interview scene. This is the one part. Like I was hoping they were gonna nail this part where they could have showcased, his positive morality and hope. Very much akin to like the first movie, where it's like, he's like, no, this is what I want to do. Like I was raised by my parents, and I want to do right by people, but no, we do not get that in this interview. It's thrown out the window. We're just given like a whiny me angsty version of Superman. He's like, my actions, I stopped a war after I stopped the war. And then he's like, where's the button? Like when he's on the recorder, it's like now he's stupid. He doesn't know how to work a tape recorder. Like
I mean, when you get
he
flustered,
comes off like a hothead in this movie. But I will say this, and this is the once I saw it, it completely like I couldn't look at his character any other way. His dialogue sounds like Star-Lord. He's basically playing Star-Lord in this movie. Just like his interaction with Lois, it's Star-Lord and Gamora. Um the whole like Superman doesn't do selfies. Like that's a Star-Lord line. That's not Superman. Like it's just I it left such a bad taste in my mouth just watching this. And it was like, God, I hope we could do this. Like I hope we could pivot to something good. I will give everyone this. This is an entertaining popcorn movie. This is a tentpole movie. It is entertaining. And this is why I prefaced at the beginning about this is in reference to Superman the character. This is not a Superman movie. This is a Justice Gang movie, first and foremost. This is a setup movie. That's all it is. And again, like the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, this is Batman versus Superman. That's all it is. The fight scene in the city, when, like you said, it grows up, we're introduced to the Justice Gang. There's something that happens during that fight that never comes back. There's a dog that almost gets crushed, and he uses his super breath to move the dog, and the dog hits the pole. I thought they were gonna come back to that and be like use it against him or something like that, but it's like it's just there just to show that it's there. He saves the squirrel. The monster ends up almost hits the building. Still ends up hitting it.
yeah,
um, and he the weird comments that he makes where he's like, I'm trying to get it out of here alive, somewhere we can study it. And then, like you said, the Justice Gang still ends up killing the monster either
Yeah.
way. But then he has this stupid line where he's like, I wanted to take it to an intergalactic zoo or euthanize it. So he was still gonna kill
Peacefully,
it either way. He was like,
just
but it's
humanely.
more, yeah. But it's like, why have that line in there? Like that's what I mean. Is like during the whole fight scene, it's like he's like, well, I'm trying to do this. I'm like, he's doing a really bad job at it. Like, not at any point do I see him like at least try to like go underneath it and pick it up. Which they mess with his power a lot in this movie. It's
Yeah, I
like
know James
sometimes he's
Gunn wanted to
strong.
make him weaker. He wanted to make him weaker than we've like kind of seen him before.
I think that was
Because
a
I mean,
bad
it's kind of
call.
I don't because I mean it's kind of hard to make a good Superman movie when he's literally the strongest person. And I mean, even in the
It's
comics,
not though.
he's not a compelling character in the comics because he's so powerful.
But you
Like,
know why though, right? You know why it doesn't work? Because when you weaken him, then you can beat him physically. But by making him strong in that, the way that you weaken him is through his morals, through his values, through his character. You
but I
make
mean,
him
you could say
question
that they did that though.
himself.
But they did that though
They
in this
did
movie.
they did it in such a modern cheap way where it's like we'll go after his character through social media, but then he's already physically weak. So it's like, how can I root for this guy when it's like he should already be? I need to see him winning, but he doesn't win till like the end of the movie. He's already beaten and defeated and broken down the entire time, and it's not until the end of the movie. And then, dude, the end of the movie. Let's just jump straight to it. So again, I will give you Mr. Terrific. Eddie gets his flowers. I'm so happy that they finally gave it to him. It sucks that it had to happen in a different comic book property, but I'm glad that he got something. But he's always a good spice to
Mhm.
anything you put him in. X-Men, like I said, he was on the blacklist for like a really good arc. He freaking killed a dude. Oh, he was like a tiptoe mustache twirling villain almost in the story arc that he has, but it's so good. Like he played, it's basically Mr. Terrific if he was bad. But the ending. Let's talk destruction. Like wow,
Yep. A lot of that.
wow, wow. I love how it's like all this destruction's happening and whatnot, and then we get the heroic theme and the floating with the sunlight, with the dust and debris and the backdrop, and like all the buildings are torn down. But yes, this is our heroic moment, guys. He did it, and he waits until the end of the movie to use his laser vision. We
Yeah.
don't get the laser vision until the end of the movie. He gets racked in the movie.
Yeah, he does.
Superman gets racked. The clone Superman I thought was stupid. Um, actually said, F this movie. Like as soon as that happened, I almost got up. I was like, no, I'm done. I can't do this. This is ridiculous. He looks exactly like Bucky with the long
A little
hair.
bit. Yeah, the long hair.
Like
Yeah.
with the all black. I was like, he's fighting the Winter Soldier now. And then the cringe. Your plan won't work because I called in some friends. Again, relying on the secondary characters to pull him out. Superman needs to be the one that's pulling his way out of this. But again, we don't get that. We don't get Superman holding his own. He keeps getting beat down and beat down and beat down and beat down. Hawk Girl, anti-hero, technically in the movie, even though we don't see it, she killed that guy. She killed the
Oh,
dictator.
100%.
Like,
100%.
the screaming looks ridiculous on her face too. it,
Yeah, that was
it,
an odd choice.
you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the goats in Thor: Love and Thunder. Like they're like how their eyes
Yeah.
go all like bug-eyed and wild when they scream. That's the same thing it looked like to me when I was watching it. Um, but yeah, the I'm not like Superman. Boom. The brain beats brawn. Crypto Ex Machina comes in to save the day. Again, Superman needs saving. Crypto to the rescue. Another hero pose in the debris with the background again, all the destruction. He's like, but hey, we have time for a hero pose, guys. I'm heroic. I'm doing something good. The raptor fight looks like the Agent Smith fight in the Matrix Reloaded. When they're all over him, they all and then he does like the spin.
Yeah.
You brought up Crypto with the Loki Hulk thrashing. To Lex. So let's talk about Cat Grant for a split second. James Gunn snuck in that Daily Planet slow mo celebration jump. Prove me wrong. At the end, and I realized I was like, why does she look familiar? And Suicide Squad, the same exact thing. She, in the middle of
Yep.
the movie towards the end. Um, when they're talking about Superman, he is the hero we always thought he was. Like, really? Like, y'all weren't spending like half the movie like, F you, Superman, blah, blah, blah. He wants to rule us. And like, we knew. We knew he was always the hero. Um, they can't get drunk on a planet with the yellow sun line. That was, that was all James Gunn with the Supergirl thing where she's getting like slammed into the ground. Honestly surprised he didn't have his wife in the movie somehow and have her get like thrown on the ground somewhere or like beat up in some way. I mean, he already shot her in the leg in Volume 3. So
Yeah. She'll
why
probably get
not?
that in Peacemaker season 2.
Oh God, for real. But yeah, dude, like I said, I just there's so much hope. There's so much that I wanted for this movie, but we didn't get it. I'm happy for people that enjoy this movie, and I'm glad that they walked away with something. But when I watch this movie, it's just set up. And honestly, like with how much it's made so far, maybe it'll hit, but we're gonna find out next week during the second week if it drops off or not. Because I don't know, we might have Dark Universe. We might have Dark Universe,
I don't think it'll
but
go that far. I think it made plenty on this first opening weekend where it'll
it
probably
it
sustain itself. I mean, if it has a
it'll make
70%
enough.
drop,
But will they learn from it
I
to make
mean,
an actual decent script? Because this was not a good script. This was
I
not.
think
I
I
want
think you
James
might be
Gunn
in the
back, dude.
minority on that one. I mean, given all the fan praise for it, I mean, I think the majority seem to like it though.
Because it was all
I
key
mean,
jingling. That's
I
all it
mean, I think it's
was.
in terms of being hopeful, like I'm hopeful that I came away that the DCU is going in the right direction. Whether this is going to be whether you want to talk about this being a good Superman movie or not, like we had the first iteration, like I think DCU canon now is the first season of Peacemaker minus the Justice League scene, Creature Commandos, and this. So technically, this is the third, DCU canon.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm hopeful for the DCU going forward, and I'm glad that this made like 220 million worldwide opening weekend, which it's a promising start. But I mean, I'm hopeful that this is a step in the right direction for you know at least for the whole the universe as a whole. I mean, like I mean, I had the complete opposite. Like, I mean, yeah, like of course this movie. I mean, again, my fear of this movie was being like was bloated. But I still think, I mean, I don't like my Superman being all powerful. So like it's for me, it's fine watching him get beat because I can't. I mean, when you have someone who can literally just do everything, it's not a compelling character. Like that's why in the comics, Superman was never a character I enjoyed reading. It's just because there's no point. Like his own one weakness
That's
was
just the
kryptonite.
nihilist in you.
But no, I mean, what's the point? Like I like my characters to be nuanced and layered, and he's not really that in the comics. And I mean, Batman was pretty good to read in the comics, but now he's become like an internet meme. It's just like, oh well, now Batman can just do literally everything because his utility belt's basically its own pocket universe. And I'm like, well, I mean that's just dumb too. Like
Did they
you got
really
to
do
have
that?
characters. No, no, I'm just saying like his utility belt literally has everything for every you know like, oh,
Situation.
if I need to beat Superman, oh, I got this. If I need to beat Wonder Woman, I got this. Like like, bro, I get it, you plan, but at the same time, like, we can't just, you got to get beat. Like, you
Yeah.
can't just, you can't have an answer for everything. And that's why,
And
like, I like my heroes to get beat down. That's why, I guess that's why I'm a Spider-Man fan, because that dude just loses all the time.
yeah.
Like
But what's
personally,
the thing about
heroically, like just
Superman though?
beats down.
But what is the thing about him though is he always gets back up because of who he is morally. And his morals are what drive him, his code that he lives by with, with great power comes great responsibility. So when he gets beat down, we feel it because of who he is. And that
But I
he's
think
like,
that's
yes,
why
but he's like, I'm strong, but I'll still get beat down, but I get back up. But with this, we don't get that.
I did
We don't
though.
ever have that moment to where he is strong, where he is like, I'm taking it until the very end. That's the
But
issue I have with this movie is that it wants to show him getting beat down and like, oh, see, like, he gets beat down, but you're gonna have to wait 2 hours to see if he's gonna get back up. Where we need to already have that fleshed out, and I don't think Cornsweat did that great of a job. I think it was serviceable, but I don't think he was Superman.
see,
Like
I
it's
mean,
just we
I was the
needed
exact
something
opposite.
else.
Like, I mean, we do see him get back up. Like when he's, when all the people turn against him, he ends up he turns himself in because he thinks that's the right thing to do, and then they end up throwing him in prison. They end up shooting the guy
But what is the
that stood
scene
up
that
for him.
happens when he turns him in? When he turns himself in? What is the first scene that happens when he turns himself in?
I mean, they throw him on the ground and handcuff him, and
Yeah,
then they bring him to the thing.
again, he's like he's thrown and beaten down.
But
And
when you see your hero getting beat down, but he still comes back at the end of the movie to save the day,
but you need to see
like,
him up first. You need to see
do we
him
though?
like at his high.
Do
Yes,
we?
because you know why though, right? It's because it's sort of like climbing a mountain. It's like God of War 3. Kratos gets to the top, he gets dropped back down, all the way back
But
down, and then it's
that
about
that
building
game,
himself back up, and then he gets
but
dropped down again, and then he gets brought back up. But
and
that's the
that
thing
game
is
like
that
repeated itself three times. That
he's
game
never
repeated itself
there.
three times.
Yes,
So in the first one,
but
we
you know
see
what I
him
mean though.
rise, and it's
Yeah,
basically just we're gonna start the second one. We're gonna have him fall. Like it's not like when you play the first one, he's going through it, and then he ends up defeating Ares, and by the second one, he's on top, and then all of a sudden the gods strip him of his power right in the beginning, just boom, straight.
and he gets back up. But you
But he
start
gets
with
back
that
up.
with
But you
so
still he gets
with that one he's starting because he's working his way up to the journey. Right here, it's just telling us like, oh hey, yeah, this is what happened. He has his first battle. It would be different if it was like this was like the second movie and we got Corn Sweat like okay, Corn Sweat's like defeating like oh my god, like what happened? Like he's out, like he's Superman. Where did that come from? But this is his first iteration. This is his first like this is me donning the role, taking on the role, and you want to show him just beaten out to a pulp right at the beginning?
I think that's why you
Like
had the
no, like
crawl
I
in the beginning. Like this is his first fight that he's lost. Like we're going into
but
this
that's
movie,
but that's what I
but we're going in
hated
this
though.
movie. Yeah, but we're going in this movie where like we're not gonna do an hour long origin of Krypton exploding and blah blah blah. Like we've seen that. We don't need to do that again. Like we got that in Superman. We
We
got that
don't,
in
but I
Man of
need
Steel.
him
We
winning some
don't.
fights at the beginning. Just like
I mean, I've already like I'm going into it like I already know Superman like he's gonna win every fight. So when you open up a movie with him losing, you're like, okay, well I need to see what happened. Like how did this happen? Like who did this to Superman? Like I don't need to see him win because I already know he went 3 years of winning because I've seen his origin told so many times in the comics and the movies. Like I mean the show Smallville. Like I don't need to see his I don't need to see him winning because I already know he wins. He's
yeah.
Superman.
Well, having said that, what do you give this out of 10?
Where's my tier maker? Can I move this without anything happening? Let's see. I have it on my other screen. There we go. Nope, still showing up on your screen. Got you. All right. Well, no, something happened. I don't know what happened. There we go. Out of 10. So I'll leave tier maker alone. I don't even know what I gave the other ones. So on for me, I honestly would slot this. I still think the first Superman is probably the superior one. overall,
Oh
just
yeah.
from start to finish. I mean, again, I do think this film did a few things better than that film. Just for example, Lex Luthor. Like nothing against Gene Hackman, I just hate how they wrote Lex Luthor in the first Superman. Too campy, too hammy. Like not at all what Lex Luthor should be.
Yeah.
At least for like modern audiences, I suppose. Maybe at the time. So I think in that regard, this Lex Luthor is by far superior. But I mean, there's just other things. Like I think this movie did a great job, setting up maybe what's to come. I do think, the Superman aspect does, like, of course, first Superman, all about Superman. This Superman, not all about Superman. So in that regard, I probably would rate it a little bit lower than the first Superman. So I'll probably give this like an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay. Not too
I move this over
bad.
here. Let's see. Okay, cool. Didn't do anything.
Let's see. So, just based off of what we talked about, I had originally had one score, but I am gonna change it a little after looking at the tier list because I think, and again, a good Superman movie is not a good setup movie for others, for like a Mr. Terrific, a Metamorpho, Guy Gardner, for the Justice Gang. Definitely a great setup movie because they do shine in their
Yeah.
roles, and that's and again, like I feel like I don't know why, like I feel like that just it overshadows anything and everything that Superman does in the movie, and that's the thing I think that hurts more than anything is because I wanted this to be a Superman movie, but it's just like I said, I feel like we got James Gunn the executive for this one. This was the one where he was like, well, I mean, if I really give them enough screen time, they'll be enticed enough to want to see more of them.
Yeah, he did too
And
good of a
that's
job on those characters.
and that's what I mean. It's like your big is supposed to
Yeah.
be like the one that's setting the tone, and everyone else is like, "Oh, I didn't know we needed that additional spice, but man, it worked."
Yeah. He's
You
like,
know, to
Superman will
where,
sell itself. We need to sell these other guys.
yeah, and I feel like that got the best of him, to where Superman didn't sell me. The rest of the cast did. They did great on that. Like I'm down to see more of them, but if I never see Cornsweat as Superman again, I won't lose sleep. So with that being said, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Initially, I had it at a 3 out of 10, but having talked it out, and like I said, there are some things that I liked. But if I'm looking at this objectively as just a Superman movie, where it should be Superman, it's this is not. So on the tier list, that's where it's gonna get a little fun. It's definitely not as bad as where'd it go?
Oh, I think when you switched to presentation mode, it like lost it. I had to upload it
Oh,
again.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. I saw it was missing. I was like, oh crap.
But no, let me un momento, por favor. Let me go ahead and pull that.
Experiencing technical difficulties with Tier Maker.
All part of the interest of
The
the
experience.
show. Exactly, exactly. All right, let's see. Bam. Okay, we are back. Boom. All right. So with that being said, and this is where I have my little conundrum. While
I bet.
enjoyable, um, is it better than Man of Steel or is it not? And that's a tough one for me because I'm like, it's I don't know. It is not as good as the first one. Like I said, Chris Reeve is,
No.
and after going through this, will always be Superman in my eyes. He will always be Clark Kent because he encapsulates those personas so well. We didn't really talk much about Clark Kent in this one. He's not even Clark Kent
Not
in
not
this one too.
not a lot.
Like
Yeah.
you said, aside from like the typos, and then aren't the girls flirting with him too? They're like, oh my god,
No, I
like
think they were flirting with Jimmy.
was it Jimmy?
I think they were. Yeah, when we find out he's also like his ex was Eve. Like, man, Jimmy's got some game.
Yeah. What was her contact thing? Web toes or something?
Something like that. Yeah,
Mutant
yeah, yeah.
toes.
Mutant toes, right? Something. Yeah. And it just got me thinking if she's out of my league, which
Yeah.
also,
With the web feed.
yeah, yeah.
Spoiler alert. Oof. I'm like, I don't know, dude. So I will say this. It's a B minus. But I'm like, do I want to put it below Man of Steel? It's the question. I'm like, because Man of Steel is just, it's. Mm. You know what? I'll do this. Because I don't remember if Man of Steel was a B minus either.
I don't remember.
You know what? I will say this. I'm gonna redact this. They are both on the same level. Superman and Man of Steel are on the same level for me. Where there are things that I really liked and there are things that I did not. But they're in the same league. And we know that they're both better than the Lester cut and Superman 3 and definitely better than part 4. So yeah, I feel like I'm comfortable right there.
Behind Man of Steel, huh?
No, no, on the same level as Man of Steel.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, so they're both on the same level.
You just
Um
can't put them like on top of each
yeah,
other.
yeah, it's not one in front of the other. It's they're both like they're just they take
Gotcha.
some radical changes with the character that I'm just like it's again, I could be biased because of Chris Reeve, but I just feel like he does such a good job portraying Superman, and the same with Brandon Routh is like they know and encapsulate what the character is. And when those moments come in, those moments are impactful when they are succeeding, when they are down in the dirt. Like you feel everything with them. With the other two, it's it's window
Yeah.
dressing. Everything else is just. But yeah, that's where I'm at. But they're both B minuses. They're both on the same level, but they're both B minuses. C plus. What
Okay.
about you? Where you going? Where you going?
So I know when I came out of this movie and I was like when I found myself enjoying this movie probably more than I thought I was going into it because yeah, it was on my most anticipated my top 10 most anticipated. It still was one of those movies where I was like, I don't know, I was anticipating it because it's like it's the first big feature starting a new universe, right? So I was like, I wanted it to succeed like financially and I want, it's James Gunn. I like James Gunn. So it's just one of those ones where I didn't know what to expect from it, and I think it met those expectations, and it maybe even exceeded them. And I thought, okay, well, I just watched this, so is my opinion on it like, did I have that like was it bias recency or whatever it's called, where it's like, okay, you just watched something, so obviously you're gonna think like more highly of it, or if you hated something, you're gonna really really hate it coming out of it. And it's not
Yeah.
until maybe you rewatch it or whatever. And then I was thinking, I was like, well, I did just rewatch all the Superman, so I think it's still a fair value of where I rate this. And I might need to watch this film more than once or whatever to really get a true evaluation of it. But I mean, I don't even think if I watch it multiple times, I don't think it'll beat the original Superman. Um, just because I mean, Christopher Reeve's great in that movie, and I think it's just pretty much all him, right? I think for me, it's when you think of Superman, it's Christopher Reeve is still in your mind as Superman. The other characters in the movie is like, for me at least, it's just they're there, they're cool, whatever. I mean, it's his main ensemble cast,
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I so obviously it's not going to go above Superman, right? So
It's
um
not S tier.
all that being said, it's obviously so my thing is it going to be A or is it going to be better than Man of Steel, which I think just by my top 10 ranking or my out of 10, I think I had it rated higher than Man of Steel. But is it going to be B or A? And I think as for this recording, I'm going to slot it right here.
Oh.
But again,
Oh.
I've only seen it once. Like I've seen Man of Steel several times. And again, Man of Steel is one of the ones where when I first originally came out of it, it was like, yeah, it's okay. You know, it's mid, right? I probably
Yeah.
would have given it like maybe, but even neat. Like the same thing with Superman Returns. Like to me, when I
Yeah.
first saw it, it didn't impress me as much. And then after rewatching it, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's something else here. So I mean, maybe in a year from now or whatever, or even when this comes out on Blu-ray or something, when I watch it again, I'm like, okay, well maybe it was just I don't know. But as of this recording, this is where I'm going to slot it. Again, if we ever revisit this, maybe if there's maybe when the sequel comes
T-
out or something.
10-year anniversary.
Yeah, yeah. The sequel, like I don't know, Superman 2027. We might, it might change. But
Yeah.
I think for now, that's where I'm going to slot it.
Okay.
Like it's like this would be an A plus. This would be like an A minus minus. Like
Oh,
it,
okay, so it's like right there on
there's
the
still a
cusp.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's still like a huge kind of gap between Superman and Superman.
Would you say it's more definitely a lot closer to Man of Steel though, where it's
I
like
think so,
teetering on
yeah.
that cusp. It's
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
just
yeah,
needs
yeah.
like that tap, and then it's
Yeah,
like right
where
on top of it.
whereas like I think Man of Steel did just enough of extra credit to get the bump to the A, and Man of Steel didn't do enough extra credit where the teacher was just like, "Nah, we're not rounding you up."
Yeah. But you took
Yeah,
care of him.
yeah, yeah.
I got you. I got you. So there was just two last things before we finish off that we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the mid credit scene and the after credit scene.
I mean, we can honestly skip them. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. The hey, but I called it.
I honestly thought that
I called it though.
The Supergirl one was going to be one of the like if we saw Supergirl, it was going to be in the credit scene. I think when we called in the predictions, or
Yeah,
at least what
because
I said, I was like, I thought that scene was going to be in the credit scene.
then we had said what was the other one, and I had said, oh, it's probably gonna be Crypto, and then
Yeah.
you had said, oh yeah, like Baby Groot, and then yeah, it was the freaking on the moon
Yep.
for the mid credit. Dude, the after credit scene though, I know a lot of people were mad.
Yeah. I honestly, I was kind of annoyed. I was just like sitting through all the credits, and then I was like, okay, that was it. I was like, I
Yeah,
mean, we didn't really need that.
yeah, but again, it felt out of character for Superman too to be like that. And then I wrote down his line, "Darn it, I can be such a jerk sometimes."
Yeah,
Like
that's
it
definitely a
just,
Star-Lord line.
yeah, like, but it's the way he delivers it too. It's like it feels improv-y. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like this was a script one. But yeah, that's what I mean. Is like that's what I mean about his dialogue. Is like Star Lord. Like
Yeah.
watch it again and listen to what he says, and tell me you cannot hear Chris Pratt deliver those lines the same exact way. But yeah, aside from that, Robert and I have talked Superman 2025 to death. Thank y'all so much for going on this journey with us. Robert, we did it. We made it to the
Whew.
end
Some
of this
ups, some high ups, and some low lows.
lows. But hey, entertaining though. Like I had so much fun with this, man. Like I loved talking this.
You want to know what's
And like you
funny? Hold
said,
on. You want to know what's funny?
what's up?
How think of how the movie trajectory. You said you wanted to see Superman get some wins, get beat down, and then come back up for some wins. That's
Yeah.
kind of what this did. You started with Superman. Superman 2 started to get beat down a little bit, not whatever, and then 3 and 4, and then we get returns and it starts, getting back up.
And then
maybe
flatlines. I'm
maybe
dying on
that's
that
what
hill. You can die on Subtitle Hill. I will die on Superman 2025.
maybe that was the meta things like we know Ryan wants to see Superman get some wins. It's like this is a 50-year in the making thing. It's like he's not born yet, but we're gonna get him there. This is what he wants.
He pulled the
We're gonna
rug
get
right out under me.
yeah, he's gonna get some wins and he's gonna get beat down and we're gonna see him rise.
But yes, as Robert said, please, as he always says, get down in the comments. We need to hear from y'all on this. What was your take on this movie? What was your take on the franchise in general? And if you haven't already, definitely check out the Rank series. Like I said, we had a lot of fun doing this. And we've done a previous one, which Robert will talk about as well in a little while. But yeah, we want to hear from y'all. Like I said, like, subscribe. I know there's a couple lurkers out there still, but we'd really appreciate it because the journey's not over, y'all. We have so much more to look forward to. Robert, you want to tell them about some of that stuff?
Yeah, so like Ryan stated, this is our second rank series. The first one we did was Mission Impossible. We mission completed that one. If you're watching this one, then you made it to the end of this. We finished the Superman. We have just started The Conjuring. First video on that one is live on the channel. The second one, depending on when this video goes live, could be out. Might have to wait a day or so, but that one will go live sometime later on this week. But yeah, we also have a bunch of other trailer reactions. We done movies, video games, TV shows. We have pretty much a little bit for everybody. So please feel free to check it all out.
Awesome. Robert, thank you as always. Much appreciated. And thank y'all so much for watching.